Hello everybody, you are joining me at the desk, and today we're talking about gloves and why this glove costs $165 and this glove costs $30. So first we're going to go over each of the gloves that we have. This is the Hestra Wakayama mitt. It is $165 MSRP. I got this for like $180, but that was because I was in a ski town. Going over features, I do have one full video about this glove on my channel. I'll put that in the top right. So this glove comes in two parts. Hestra is known for their layering systems. We're going to start with the inside. This is a full wool glove liner, and a lot of the magic of this glove comes from this liner right here. It is knitted. It feels just as nice as you would imagine it would. Moving on, we have the outer glove here. It is cowhide, some kind of glove leather. It's pretty thin, but it's very nice oiled top grain here. They've got a neoprene cuff for comfort is what they say. I'm not 100% sure why they have this, but I'm sure it does something. And inside there's a fleece liner. So you've got wool, fleece, and then leather on your hand with these gloves. Moving on to our other glove. This, I'm gonna refer to it as the fishing glove. There will be an Amazon link in the description, but you can see it says Temres on it, 28202. It's got this big old cuff, and I was introduced to this glove by a friend, and they're actually loaned from him. This is actually Nathaniel's glove, and if you look at my most recent video, you can see him wearing these gloves. And they actually originate from Japanese fishing gloves, and skiers started wearing them. And so what they did was they made a consumer version where they added this big old cuff. Now, in terms of layers of this glove, there is a liner that is sewed in. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It is certainly not as warm as the Hestra glove, as we will see soon, but this glove is 100% waterproof. You can see it's got this it's like very thick rubberized layer, and then up here it's ingrained for texture. And the best feature of this glove is that it is $30 on Amazon, which is quite amazing. I did do some snowboarding in it. It is really good for the price. It is just completely impermeable. It's meant for like dunking your hands in icy waters on a Japanese fishing boat, but it does work quite well. So now we are going to move outside so we can see, and I'm going to describe to you the main upsides and downsides of each of the designs of this glove. For this next test, we're going outside, and the main thing I'm testing here is permeability versus breathability. Now, all the money that went into creating this Hestra glove is into making it both as impermeable as possible and as breathable as possible. And that's why you've got the wool liner and the fleece and the leather. All of those layers are attempting to be both breathable and warm. This glove, on the other hand, said, okay, how about we just cover the whole thing in leather? It's going to be 100% impermeable, but it is also going to be 100% waterproof, something that this glove is not. So what I'm about to do is I'm attempting to prove the downsides that this approach to making a glove has. So first, we're just going to demonstrate what I said before about the fact that both of these gloves are very impermeable from the outside. This glove is 100%. This glove is not quite 100%. As you'll see, the snow isn't very wet, but in my experience, especially in wetter snow, you will see it start to seep in to the leather and actually permeate the leather and begin to wet it out. I've never had problems because of that, but you can see that because this glove is meant for literally dunking your hand into ice cold water, that it's 100% impermeable, and you could literally do that and be comfortable, where this glove you couldn't. Now, what I'm about to do is going to show the downsides of the fishing glove. So basically, this glove, while being completely impermeable from the outside, it is also completely impermeable from the inside. So if I go take my hand and I get it nice and snowy and I put it into this glove, it's really uncomfortable. Theoretically, none of that water introduced by the snow will be able to exit the glove. But with the Hestra, and I have experience with this, that when I go into the snow with this hand and put it into this Hestra, this glove will be able to exhaust that water through the wool lining, the fleece, and the cowhide that's on the outside. Now, what am I feeling right now? This hand is noticeably colder than it was before I dunked it into the snow. That makes sense because I'm not sure what this liner is made out of, but it's not the wool that's inside this glove. Wool is very famous for being very warm even when it's wet. I can feel that both hands are wet. This hand is cold. I can also feel this hand is drying right now. I can feel the wool wicking that moisture away from my skin, and actually exactly what I thought was going to happen is happening, where I'm getting increasingly more comfortable on this hand, and I'm still wet and cold on this hand. Now, in terms of use case, how much does this matter? Well, if you don't have a whole lot of experience skiing, you would be surprised how often snow gets on the inside of your gloves. They tried to mitigate this by, when they made the public version of this glove, they added this big long cuff. So basically, when this glove was only a fishing glove, it was a short, regular wrist length glove. They added this big long cuff, and I think that's so to try to keep as much water out of the inside of this as possible. My Hestra hand, this is completely comfortable now. I'm actually completely warm and comfortable again. Here, I'm still wet on the inside. I'm actually getting colder as time goes on because I went in the snow. And so honestly, for me, that would make these gloves a no-go for skiing. If you're working around snow, it's very likely it's gonna get inside your gloves unless you're extremely careful about it. Let's go ahead, take our hands outside. This hand, still a little bit of moisture on it. I was dyeing some leather earlier, that's why there's brown stuff on my hands. Still a little bit of moisture. You can see some wool fibers came with it. This hand, I'm still very wet here. So that really proves the downside of just 100% going for impermeability in your design. Now, is that worth an $130 difference? That's the hard part of this decision. Now, the next section of this video is going to be about the main user experience of these gloves. I'm using these gloves in the context of snowboarding. As you can see, I got a little bit of footage with both of them, and you also got to keep in mind that I have a lot of experience snowboarding in the Hestra gloves. They are my primary snowboarding glove, and I only did a couple of runs with the Temres, and I'll tell you why. I did that because it was really cold that day. It was like 15 degrees, and the Japanese fishing gloves, they do not have enough insulation in them for that temperature. If it was 25 or 30 degrees, I would have been very comfortable, but that low of a temperature, I would have been very uncomfortable if I had done more runs. I was actually very excited to put my Hestra gloves back on. Now, I demonstrated the breathability issues with the fishing gloves, and I just want to talk about what that means on a practical sense. So if you have these gloves on all day, or like a full ski day, and it is like a basic tenet of outdoor gear that no matter what, if you are outside and moving, unless you are very cold, you're gonna be sweating. So I can see the fishing gloves being good if it's 25 or 30 degrees and you're very carefully thermoregulating, where you're just trying to sweat the minimum as possible, because you will sweat a little bit, and those gloves will get colder the more you sweat. So you've got to be extremely careful. Where the Hestra gloves, you can sweat all day in those And I've even had, you know, falls where your gloves get filled with snow and all that, and it will just exit that glove. The leather, the wool, fleece, leather wombo combo is crazy for that. So in terms of experience, the extra $135 of the Hestra does get you more, but is it enough to justify? Who is this glove for? Who would this be useful to know? Obviously, if you're out in a boat or dealing with large amounts of water, the leather exterior of this glove will not do it for you. It will eventually soak through and you will get colder than if you had this glove. But if you are in any other situation, this glove you will be vastly more comfortable in. I can see this being a passable work glove if it's not that cold, or if you layer up more. It could be very passable, but if you're being excessively active, you will eventually be colder in this glove no matter how much you layer up, because this glove does not have the ability to expel water like this glove does. In conclusion, this is a very interesting glove. I can see it being very useful for a lot of things, but in terms of general skiing or any situation where you're moving around a lot, like another situation where this glove might be useful is like as a belay glove, where you could see Nathaniel using it, where you get to a top of a climb and you can just throw this on and not worry about any water permeation, and it's super cheap. And when you're belaying, you're usually not going to be sweating. That's usually when you'll be the coldest, so this would work well in that situation. But anything where you are moving, like any cheaper mitten or anything that's not designed with this thick rubber outer layer will serve you better. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. If you subscribed it, subscribe it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.